Okay, well, we've officially had our first little tiny house disaster. We had a pipe burst. Welcome back to our channel. We're Steph and Katie, a married couple from Canada with a remote waterfront property on one of the Gulf Islands here in BC. We bought a bare lot 3 years ago, and this summer we finally had our brand new custom-built tiny house and office pod delivered. This was a huge project for us, and it has been an absolute dream come true to settle into our home and get our first taste of tiny house living. Last night, as we were about to eat dinner, Katie went to wash her hands, and she said to me, "The water isn't running from the tap." And I thought, okay, weird. So, I checked to make sure the breaker near was on and everything, and it wasn't like a problem with the water heater or something like that. And everything was fine. So I thought, okay, why don't I go check things out in the pump house in the shed? So I got my shoes on, went outside. Meanwhile, she had like soap all over her hands. So she was like about to like wash her hands. I get out to the shed and I did not film this because there was no time. So in hindsight, I'm like, I wish I had some footage of this scene, because even just to show Katie, it would have been useful. But immediately I went into problem solving mode. So use your imagination on this one. But I get out to the shed and water is just flowing out of the door, just like coming out, like full like flooding situation. And I'm like, okay, we've got a problem. So the shed, the pump house, that's where all the well equipment is, our water treatment systems and everything like that. So everything to do with our water lives in the shed. Pipes and all sorts of things, and various little connection points and things like that. So also some of our other things are stored in there, like sports equipment and some totes with like tools and stuff like that. So luckily we did have everything for the most part off the ground or in some kind of like waterproof container. Thank goodness, because there was water all over that floor. Yeah, I get a text from Steph that's just like, SOS. And I was like, oh no. And I look out the window and I just see her pulling everything out frantically. And I was like, oh yeah, I can see what happened here. We'll give you the full update. There have been developments since, but why don't we walk you out there and show you the shed and just like what happened. It's so bizarre. Yeah. Obviously our house is brand new. Our systems are all brand new. Like we put our well pump in and our water treatment systems like literally 6 weeks ago. Like everything is brand new to the point where like we hadn't even been invoiced for the work yet. Like they just did it. Yeah. And so how could something have broken or exploded or like burst? It's summer. Like it's so bizarre. So yeah, this is kind of our first little disaster to deal with. So we figured we would bring you along for the ride, because I think everyone really wanted to know like the realities of tiny house living, and this is part of it. Especially being on a remote property, it's just complicated trying to get something like this fixed. So, all right, so we'll head outside and we'll, show you what happened, I guess. Yeah. All right, so immediately when I saw all the water rushing out of the shed, I thought, where is the water shut off? I got to get that turned off quickly so that the flow of water can at least stop, and then I can figure out what's wrong. So I came in here, immediately found the water shut off, turned that off, I stopped it right away. Then I kind of cleared everything out, but immediately I could tell that the water was coming from the side over here. Basically, the water runs through the pump here, and then the water conditioner and filters and UV light and all of this through and around to another pipe that then puts the connection through underneath the ground to our house, to a hydrant at our house, which is all of our treated water, and then we've got an untreated hydrant outside as well. All of the water was rushing out of this last connector spot, and upon further inspection, it's not actually the connection that came apart. It is like the brass piece that burst or broke off somehow on its own. There was nothing around here that could have knocked it. We made sure to keep this area clear because we had the baseboard heater and all the other equipment stuff here. So nothing would have knocked it, nothing would have broken it, nothing would have gotten in to like mess with it or chew on it or anything like that. It literally just like burst. A brand new part, newly installed. A mystery as to how this happened, but it happened, so here we are. So obviously one of the first things I wanted to do last night was get everything out of the shed. So stuff wasn't wet or damaged or anything like that. And also just to get the floor of the shed itself drying out immediately. I didn't really have anywhere to put stuff last night, so I actually just drove the car around in front of the shed and then like loaded up a bunch of stuff into the car. Mostly I put stuff in here that wasn't wet or was only like a little bit wet, just to keep it safe overnight and make sure that it wasn't just like sopping up more water in the shed. Sports equipment and stuff, luckily nothing was really on the floor. That could have been way worse than it was. Obviously it's not fun to have to deal with something like this, but we did catch it right away. We probably would have caught it in the first, like, I don't know, 10 minutes max. Also, this easily could have happened when we weren't here or overnight or any other circumstance. So obviously we are trying to look on the bright side of things here, because that's all you can really do in this situation. And then we're okay right now. The other thing is, last night I basically filled some buckets and like we were able to still use the plumbing inside, like the toilet and stuff like that. And then this morning I ran our garden hose from the untreated water hydrant into the house. So although we don't have the treated water from all the well equipment, all the filtration system, we do have water in the house which can run through the toilet and through our sinks so we can wash hands and stuff. So we're not completely down and out, but we would like our treated water system back up and running as soon as possible. So while Steph was pulling everything out of the shed last night, I immediately started going through our emails to find everything that I could from the water company that set up our well. The problem is, like, being where we are, most of the people who did the work are not on the island here. So getting anyone to come out to do a repair or to fix anything is like very complicated. I didn't think we would have to deal with that so soon, like that we would need a repair so soon. Yeah. We've only been here for like a month. I don't know. That's just what's happened. So we went through everything. I gathered all the contact information thinking let's send like an emergency urgent email tonight. Hopefully they'll get back to us first thing in the morning and maybe they can send someone out on the first ferry to kind of come check things out. We made it very clear that, you know, this was just set up. You just did this work very recently and we didn't do anything wrong. So this really shouldn't have happened. Our plan was to kind of hope that they would respond early in the morning. And if not, we would call them to be like, hi, we need help. So yeah, that's what happened. We didn't hear from them. No, it was very much a situation when I called. It was like, oh, I thought so-and-so had dealt with this. All right, so let's try to figure out if we can get someone to go out to you. But they were also like, where are you? How do you get there? How do you get there? Which so I understand. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but also it's like, that's a little concerning. Yeah, so basically we've kind of spent the whole day back and forth with phone calls and stuff. And like, you know, the person I was talking to was talking to other people, trying to get someone out here, trying to find someone who's local-ish, who can maybe do a quick fix or a temporary fix before they can get the person who installed it to come back because he is out of town. Mm-hmm. And I think all of that is kind of in the works to happen tomorrow, but we are basically stuck with our current situation, at least for the full day today. Yeah. And then, yeah, maybe he can get out on the ferry tomorrow and get this fixed up. But in the meantime, it just means having untreated water, basically. So less than ideal, but also like we're not completely out of water, so we have something. It could have been a lot worse, and we thought if we are completely out of water, we can also just head back to the city, which is not ideal, but we always have that option too. We have that as a backup, yeah, but now at least we have running water in the house. We have hot water, so we could, you know, shower and do all the things. The main thing is that we're running out of drinking water, so we're gonna head to the store right now and just get some jugs of filtered water and see how far that can take us, just so that we have that for drinking and like brushing teeth and everything like that. And then cross our fingers that someone can get out here like soon. Yeah. Last night, I will say, I did look at the garden hose to get that hooked up to the house, and brand new hose in the box. We literally just brought it out, and I knew it was like a 100-foot hose, and it's an expandable hose. So I actually I checked the distance while it was not, while the water wasn't running to it. So if you've ever dealt with an expandable hose, they really do expand quite a bit, because I was like, this isn't going to fit. This isn't going to work. I'm like, there's no way it's more than 100 feet between the shed and the house. Yeah, there's no way. And also the connector to, like, at the end of the hose is like a 3/4 connector. But into the house, it's like the opposite connection point. So I was like, also, it's just not even going to go in.
So, and it was like getting late, and I'm like, all right, let's just go to bed. We'll deal with this in the morning.
Yeah.
But then this morning, with a little bit more rest and clarity in my brain, I turned on the hose, and it expanded, of course, to where it needed to go.
And now there's literally so much extra hose.
The connection point with the hose that was going from our treated hydrant into the house had the right connector that I could put our garden hose into that hose. So we got everything hooked up that way. And I'm glad I took another look at it, because last night I was like, this isn't going to work. So yeah, we are good with that.
Yeah. No, last night we were like filling buckets. It was a whole thing.
Well, and also just trying to get everything out of the shed and get everything dried off, and like the things that were wet, we were like,
toss them in the shower.
Yeah, trying to get them dried and make sure everything was good. And
but oh my God, it could have been so much worse. I just keep thinking, like, we had talked about, where all this well equipment was going to go and everything. And at a certain point we were like, can it just go in the house somewhere? Or can it go in the office somewhere? And then everyone was like, no, you really do need like a pump house to have everything.
And that was mostly because of a space issue. It wasn't because of a concern like this.
No, it was just not have happened. No, but imagine if it did, and if it happened and flooded the house.
Yeah.
Like a month into us having it. Okay, we were literally interrupted by a phone call from the company, so that was good timing.
Yeah, that was actually the guy who did the installation. He was out of cell service because he was like camping in the woods.
Yeah.
So he's just learning about all of this now and trying to
figure out. Turns his phone on and there's like all these
surprise
panic messages.
Yeah. So basically he's going to get into the office tomorrow and try to figure out a game plan, a course of action.
Doesn't sound like they're going to send someone very
I was
quickly.
like, so do you think you can get someone out here tomorrow? He's like, I don't think so. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I guess that is kind of the nature of being out, on a remote property, is when things like this happen. Unfortunately, the repairs aren't going to happen right away. So, luckily we were able to get a quick fix, and also, make sure the water was turned off and it wasn't like a leak that we couldn't control.
That would have been
a problem, obviously, if it was coming from, somewhere that we weren't able to actually control the water
leaking. I think in general, just this is teaching us that backup systems for everything are going to be so important, because if something like this happens, we do have a backup system now. It does work. Making sure we always have jugs of filtered water in the house too for power out, like all those things, like just making sure we have. I just didn't think we would need to do this so soon.
Yeah, we were thinking more like for the winter that those would be problems, like power outages in the winter, and then needing to have water because we can't run the well pump and stuff like that, or a backup generator or something. So
but right now, like, we don't, because we have a very expensive, nice new filtration system for all of our water. So like you can drink the tap water, so we don't have filtered water, like jugs of filtered water. So a good reminder that we should have that, and we should just have backups on backups on backups for every possible little thing that could go wrong.
Yeah, and things like when we leave the property for however many days, make sure the water's turned off, not just at the house, because that's what I was doing before, turning off the propane and turning off the water at the house, but actually turning off the water in the shed.
Because if that had happened while we were just gone,
it would have just been,
no one had come here,
we would have had no way of knowing. It would have just been
flooding. It would have flooded like down this hill.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, toward the office. Yeah,
that could have been a big problem, a much bigger problem than this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to hop in the car and go pick up some jugs of water.
Yeah.
And that's probably all
because we're going to probably need
today.
A couple days worth of
Okay.
All right, it is Friday now. It has been a couple of days of this whole burst pipe situation. We still don't really have a solution yet, but we've been making do. So we have the garden hose hooked up to the untreated well water, so we at least have some running water in the house. And then we've been using the filtered water for like drinking water and cooking and brushing teeth and everything like that. So we're definitely getting by and it's okay, but I am looking forward to getting it fixed.
We did also get another phone call from the person who did the installation. Luckily, he did take full responsibility. He said it was an installation problem. So he knows exactly what happened. He knows exactly what went wrong. He said
He was very sorry.
He was very apologetic. And he said he would get the problem dealt with and fixed as soon as possible, which was great to hear.
Yeah.
He basically said this is like a plumber's worst nightmare. And he asked if, anything was damaged or anything like that. And luckily the answer was no.
It could have been so much worse. And I think that he realized that.
Definitely. This kind of equipment is sometimes housed in people's basements or like right in their house. So if that was the case, obviously it would have been much worse than it was. He's also working on getting someone out here. It doesn't sound like he's able to come, but he's definitely putting some feelers out for contractors who are local and things like that. So hopefully we can get someone out right away to look at it, to fix it, to whatever needs to happen. And we'll go from there. So right now we're still doing what we're doing with our untreated water and bottled water. But we are surviving. We are gonna get by on that for now.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have some more answers and hopefully a fix very soon.
Yeah. I think now just having the peace of mind of like knowing what the problem was. He basically said that there wasn't enough pipe
he didn't
push through.
Basically, he didn't push through the pipe far
the fitting.
enough. So I think it is like the pipe that was laid underground didn't come up far enough to go into the brass fitting. So it kind of like popped off that way. But because everything has been buried now, hopefully we'll be able to get the problem solved without, too much disruption to the whole system.
Yeah, but it's just nice to know that we know what the problem is, we didn't do anything wrong, and they took accountability. It's not going to cost us anything, all of that. So definitely peace of mind in knowing all of that. And yeah, hopefully they can get someone out here even as quickly as tomorrow. So
yeah.
Okay, we have water again.
Yay!
Someone came this morning and fixed it, and it was honestly really anticlimactic. It took like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it, huh?
We thought that maybe, first thought was maybe a part had broken. The next thought was maybe there wasn't enough pipe or like something wasn't and something wrong with the part. But it turns out that most likely it was just that the part wasn't tightened enough.
But also, which is silly, but also there wasn't really enough pipe. So kind of like a dual problem.
Both,
But basically the guy who came just tightened it up again, tested it, it was fine. But he was like, for more peace of mind, you could extend the pipe inside because there's not really enough. When they installed it, they should have left more. And I think the guy who installed it acknowledged that as well.
Yeah.
So that might be part 2 repair where they come and replace that part and put more pipe in just to give everyone peace of mind that it won't happen again. Because I don't love thinking that it could come off again, even though we saw him tighten it and like I don't think it will. But
no, it's like pretty secure, but it's also still like knowing that there should be more pipe in there is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But for now, it's fixed.
Yeah.
We have water.
We're good.
And we know now where to shut it off and how to do all that so that we will do that just in the future for peace of mind that will never happen again.
Yeah.
So
even just when we were inside, the water started sputtering a bit just because there's air in the pipes. But immediately it was like, don't like that. I ran out to the shed. Okay, things are good. Everything's fine. But
But now I'm like paranoid about it. Yeah.
Okay, so like we said, the fix was actually pretty easy. He tightened this up and now it's like nice and solid. You can kind of see the pipe that comes out of the ground underneath. And then this part here is just like a pressure system that kind of just tightens onto there. So it doesn't actually screw on. Like if you see the other parts here, there are threads. But this one that goes onto the pipe that goes down through to our hydrant is actually just on and like squeezing it. So I can see now why he was saying
that it was just a tightness issue, because the pipe itself is a little bit pliable. So when something like that is put on and tightened, it's just gonna kind of squeeze onto it. It is very tight now, it's very solid. I feel pretty confident about that. Like we said, there could be more pipe coming up to come into this whole system. So we'll see, we'll talk to the well guy and see if that's something that we do want to do as like a secondary safety measure. But so far so good. This looks pretty good and it's working fine, so that's nice. You can see outside, this is where the pipe comes through from the shed into the ground, and then it goes down through to the hydrant that's by the house. So this is the pipe that he was talking about wanting more of. He was saying that there should be more of this that comes up into the shed so that there can be more to latch onto for that piece. Obviously it's all buried and it goes to the hydrant, so there's not really a way of just like pulling up more pipe. So if they were gonna add more, they would actually have to attach it. So that's another place that there would need to be an attachment, which also, like, anytime you're working with water, like, you don't wanna have so many different pieces that are attached to one another, because obviously one solid pipe is gonna be the best. We're pretty happy with how things are now, so hopefully problem solved. But if there is more to do, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay, I think we will end that here for today. It has been an eventful week, but thanks for coming along on the adventure. We got a lot of people commenting on our other tiny house videos that you were interested in seeing like the real behind the scenes, day-to-day life and what it's like and all the things that can go wrong and everything like that. So let us know if you enjoyed watching this. I'm sure there will be other mishaps and misadventures.
There's a lot to learn. This is all pretty new for us. We're learning as we go. We are problem solving as we go. Luckily this wasn't a bigger issue. Obviously it was a problem. Could have been really bad.
So much worse.
So we're happy that it wasn't a major disaster. And now it's mostly fixed.
So if you enjoy watching tiny house content, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. There is tons more to come and lots of other videos that you can go back and watch as well. And we'll catch you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.